Hello, everybody, and welcome in to the first episode of Roll D Talks. This is our super serious TTRPG talk show where we decompress and deconstruct our favorite indie TTRPGs that we have played on Roll D5 and beyond. My name is Juli, or Julian, or Julie CL. I'm going to be emceeing this whole event, but the actual stars over here are the wonderful players, GMs, etc., that have been on Roll D5 recently. I would love if they all thought very hard about this icebreaker question that I've definitely thought of beforehand, that I'm about to hit them with any second now. Shadow, what is the most useful superpower for your everyday life?
Teleportation.
Oh, okay, done. Easy, I guess.
Yeah, no, I mean, what?
I've thought about this for 20 years.
Yeah, seriously. think about how much money you save. Think about how many cool places you could go. Think about how you could save the Earth.
Save the Earth.
Everybody would have to teleport.
Everybody would have to teleport. You can save the Earth. Oh, that's crazy.
And that would bring the
crazy.
risk of like teleporting to a place where someone is teleporting at the same time.
Right? And then,
Oh,
okay,
I never
no.
thought about that.
all right, that's a little scary.
Not everybody
That's
should be
fine.
allowed to
Scary.
teleport. Done.
Yeah, not
just,
everybody
just
should
Shadow.
be allowed to teleport.
Yeah, you have to have a license to teleport.
You have to have a license. A teleportation license is crazy. Don't let government fucking take away teleportation.
Have we already
bro.
invented the Libertarian Party for superpowers?
Yeah, we have.
Uh,
Oh, no.
Tony,
this
what's
happens so fast.
Tony? What superpower would you use in your
the
everyday life?
superpower that I would use in my everyday life is a superpower to not have anxiety. That is the only thing I need. Literally, my life would be perfect if I just had that. If I just had
Oh
like
my
a
God.
normal functioning brain that could solve problems without having a panic attack, my life would be so much easier.
If I was a more talented editor, I would take Tony's face, put it on Rock Lee from Naruto, have him take the training weights off, but they both just say anxiety, and he drops them to the ground.
They just drop to the ground, and I'm different. And I'm gonna tell everybody right now, if I didn't have anxiety slash other disorders, the streets would not be ready for me, bro. Y'all would not be ready. It'd be a different Tino out here, dog.
The very
Anyway, Danielle.
chemistry of the streets would change.
I'm just so marveled by your answers that I have not thought of my own. For everyday life, I think it would be very useful to be able to get like an instant clone to do stuff. So let's say I'm cooking, right? So I'm like just double me, and the other part of me just cooks stuff chops stuff while I like move the other part of the food that I'm cooking.
Are you not concerned about the possibility of your clone trying to overthrow you and take your life?
Well, I was gonna say instantly, this is a human rights violation because what if the clone doesn't want to cook? Danielle, you got to think about this stuff.
No, you don't think I have not thought about this. I remember one time I started going through this rabbit hole of thinking what would happen if another exact copy of me existed. If not the classic, will I kill him or or would I have a strange romantic relationship with my own clone? But I would say who becomes me, right? Like because those two clones would have to be controlled by one mind in order for this to work.
Hive mind.
Yeah, it'd have to be a hive mind thing.
Yeah, it has to be a hive mind because if at any moment those two clones get completely separated from each other, conscious wise, things go. You don't want to get there.
That's so good. I never thought of that. Like, what if your appendage, like your arm, gains sentience? Like, yeah, that would be the same deal where it would be, but in like a hive mind. Yeah, it's really smart.
And
it's really
the
smart.
thing is that fight of like, okay, who's gonna go to work today? You should go. You're the clone. No, you're the clone. No, you're the clone. And then
right. That doesn't happen. Yeah.
Wow.
Exactly.
Leave it to Danielle to think of the way he has to do the least amount of work. I don't know why I'm roasting.
No, because
you.
the other
Very
me
nice.
would be really
Just-
upset of having to do it.
Oh my
Just
god.
roasting the shit out of
Who would have the
Listen.
right to be the actual me?
No, that's great. I think that's
a
great.
Terrible superpower. Never want to clone
No,
myself.
no. That's amazing. I'm sorry that I'm constantly trying to poke holes and stuff because I immediately I'm like, if it's a hive mind, all that means is I'm gonna have double the anxiety because I have more responsibility to do having two people. And
Oh,
if it's
no.
not a hive mind, then I know that all of the like negative self-talk is just gonna be projected on the clone, and that's not gonna be fair to him.
But if
Yeah.
you have a hive mind, maybe you can delegate the anxiety to one of the clones at a time. So one is perfectly not
have
anxious.
three clones. One just sits in a corner
and
and
has
just
the anxiety.
It just has
Yeah.
the anxiety, and then
Yeah.
everyone
Oh,
else
yeah.
goes and does stuff.
no.
Yeah.
You
Only
gotta-
if that clone gets to like not get anxiety the next day or something.
Yeah, so you gotta draw straws or something, you know.
Listen, if you have one clone take all the anxiety, they're not going to be functioning the next day.
You can
You
lock
gotta-
it up in a closet.
yeah, you just gotta lock that thing
gotta
up.
go sleep.
You
Yeah,
literally
someone's
created
drawing
a
the short
supervillain.
straw.
That's how you created your own supervillain already.
What if that someone?
That's
What if that
true.
someone is the consciousness that you, the one that is actually speaking right now, gets to have? That's where this thing gets really horrible to think about, because you separate into four, and all of the four think that they're you, and the one that they want, the you that is actually you, doesn't want to be the one in the closet
I
with
need
anxiety.
I need a scientists do not clone me. It's gonna be bad.
Because the streets won't be ready.
Yeah,
Yes.
the streets won't be ready for
Yeah.
for prong Tony.
But this is why we have to ask these questions.
Not four
from-
prongs. So here on Roll D5, we play tabletop role-playing games and really love the indie ones. They're really neat. They bring joy to our lives and the lives of people who view them. Maybe. I don't know. I only know a few of them. But anyway, my power would be to stop time. I would never be behind on sleep. And I would stipulate that I would never age while paused, because that would be a big downside.
Yes, that would.
Would you stop time for everything else but you?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
There's logistics about how the physics would work, and I'm choosing not to think about it.
Okay.
Like,
I
would my pee
respect.
hang in the air? I don't know. Like,
You well, if you're not aging, probably your biological functions would stop too.
but what if I decide to?
Oh, like you want to pee for fun?
Yeah. Does it just hang there?
I would say that if it has any biological material that came or was produced in you, that still is applied with time.
This is the
So-
first episode of Rookie Plays. Hey Sylvia, were you at all shocked that immediately my brain knew just came up with peeing for fun? That was
No.
the first thought. Okay.
So, there's a great comic that kind of goes into this.
Oh.
Are you talking about sex criminals?
I am talking about sex criminals.
Yes.
Daniel,
I've
what are
never
they
seen this.
talking about?
I have no idea.
I'll let Sylvia.
Well, it's like a I would call it like a graphic novel esque, but it's like a comic graphic novel type thing. And there's these two criminals, and their superpower is that whenever they get it on, time stops. So they also rob banks.
What?
It's fucking rad.
It's a great thing, but it does have some of the time stop questions in
Oh
there.
my god.
In case you need to do further research.
This
on
is a
your
makes you
webcomic
think a
with
lot.
visuals?
It's fucking awesome.
Stop Googling it, chat. Michael, stop. You're not.
Come
you can't.
back. Hey, not on your work computer. Stop it.
Well, I think
HR sees that.
I think the purpose of getting to know all of us is done. So here and now the show's over.
This is
No.
the end of the episode.
The end.
It's over.
So here on Roll D5, we play a good amount of different indie TTRPGs, like a shocking amount of different ones. I would have expected more repeats in there, but a lot of people are directing us towards wonderful systems. Some people are even sending us towards wonderful systems, and the people here with us have taken part in games well known like Monster, excuse me, of the Week. Lesser known ones like Succulent Sorcerers, Gubat Banwa, and ones even invented by one of our very own team members, Mika, in My Boyfriend Was Is a Cryptid. Just lots of fun stuff. Queer Fantasy Road Trip, I believe, Danielle, you were also a part of.
That was very fun.
Yeah, I would love to just open the table. Have there been any systems that like you were sitting there and you're just kind of like, wow, I can't believe I didn't know I needed this game this badly until it came my way. 'Cause I know,
I definitely Gubat Banwa,
yeah.
but that's I think that the three of us share this had this shared illusion that this thing happened. It's just so magical. Um, it's just because it just kind of talks about all the things that I've been really obsessed with, like tactical RPG games, games that provide me with settings that make my brain think in a way that it hasn't think before. I think that we've talked about how like most of the things that we've been playing are like based off the same like 4 or 5 big pieces of media. If it's not like Lord of the Rings, it's like HP Lovecraft. If it's not HP Lovecraft, so once in a millennium, you find like something that just feels like it's been made by other people, by new people, by people who have new stories to tell, and that's what happened to me with Guba Banwa. And I did enjoy my first participation with Roll B5, which was Blades in the Dark, which you were in to Julie.
Oh yeah.
Was really, I think that system surprised me because of how it tackles the idea of not waiting for things to happen. I love that. I love that. So those I think those two systems are by far the
Mm.
ones that I've been participating here. The ones that I've been mostly surprised by. But definitely more by Gubat Bagua because it just grabbed me by surprise completely.
So that's because of the clocks in Blades in the Dark, right? Things are always
The
moving
the,
forward.
the, the clocks the clocks are fun, but it's more about the way all of the conflicts are resolved. In which like it's always a conversation between the GM and the player, um in which you basically decide the magnitude of stuff happening, the speed
Mm.
at which the things are happening, and which approach you have to the things, and in a way you just let it play and let it play in the story without having to wait for um, most of the dice rolls or most of the things. Like you basically just like making very good narrative choices of, like on the spot all the time. And I think that rhythm I really enjoyed. And the clocks are part of it because the clocks like kind of like give the game um keep the game going or the narrative going. But
Mm.
it's just basically that interaction between game master and players in which like you're always keeping the thing forward like a little locomotive.
Yeah, and the setting is crazy too. It's like it's a gothic heist, right? Like that's kind of roughly how Blades in the Dark sells itself.
Yeah, it's very Dishonored for anybody who played those video games. It's very Victorian meets technology with ghosts,
Mm.
something like that, and vampires, and like it's like yeah, it's basically like monsters meet with Victorian heist fiascos. It's really fun, really fun.
We love just smushing a bunch of genres together and seeing what happens because sometimes it's incredible a lot of the time. I feel like
Yeah.
a lot of the big pieces of media are mashes of different genres that you wouldn't expect. Tony, we were just talking One Piece. That's basically pirates plus superpowers. That's what the
Yeah,
show
yeah,
is.
basically.
Heck yeah.
I've been reading the show is very legit.
Oh, I'm a
The
big
the
fan.
the Netflix shows.
I agree. I would say I'm not done with it yet. I'm on like episode 5. There are some things that I don't mind, that I wish they didn't change, but like so far, yeah, I dig it. It's cute.
one of these days somebody will make a high profile One Piece tabletop game. I'm sure, if one doesn't exist already. If one does, send it to us because I want to play it. Me.
Yeah, same.
Shadow, you're also one of the new GMs of our channel, which is so lovely. You ran Succulent Sorcerers for us. What was that one like? Because I tuned in and there was cactuses sticking middle fingers up at people or something like that.
Excuse me?
Yeah, that happened. That's not necessarily written into the rules, but I mean, hey, it happens. So
Are all the plants in your games this crazy?
Oh my god, yeah, because you're a
that's
flower
a theme.
necromancer.
That's
in
yeah.
Gubat
Apparently,
Banwa.
that's
Yeah.
my theme. So
My theme is angsty boys that explode.
I got questions. Anyway, I got questions. Okay. So Succulent Sorcerers. It's an adorable, like literally 2-page. It calls itself a J TTRPG. Because it's so simple. There's like literally 5 rules of the game. It's played with D6. Usually, just need 1. Everyone is a plant though. Everyone gets to be a tiny little succulent. It's written into the rules that you do have to draw or create or express your tiny little plant in whatever fashion it is. Normally, when streaming, it's normally really purposefully bad Photoshop and or Microsoft Paint illustrations of everyone's plant. I think I got this game, like somebody posted like many years ago. I was like, hey, there's a Black Friday sale on Itch.io, and I was like, yes. So I think the system's really awesome. When you read through the rules, like literally the 2 pages that are the rules and the setup, you're kind of like, oh, this is a game for children, right? And as much as I think it is a great game to get the younger crowd into TTRPGs, it's really great for that. I think it's really great RP experience to think about how you experience the world as a 3-inch tall potted plant. And what does that mean? And how do you solve problems like getting from the windowsill to the floor and across the room?
I'm getting like Chibi Robo vibes. Like I'm imagining like a cute little environment where you like move around like this.
Yeah, exactly. And everyone has different interpretations of what that looks like. Some people use their roots like legs and or tentacles, and some people hop, and some people literally like just scoot themselves forward with everything. So yeah, it's a great little system just to get you out of what you're so used to, being these big all powerful beings in TTRPGs, and now becoming a tiny little plant that has some magical powers.
Just like my Gubat Banwa character.
Yeah, exactly.
You can port him. We can port him to Succulents now.
Oh my god. Pamir reincarnates in a cozy TTRPG.
Yes, the cozy system.
Literally, I think all of us are like trying to hold ourselves back from talking about Gubat Banwa because we've all played it at this point.
For like,
but yeah, listen, I'm not one to make fun of games that are simple enough for kids to understand and adults to enjoy, because I'm a 29-year-old who plays Pokemon and have played Pokemon for most of my life. That's fine. It's okay. The strategic value of water beating fire is, nice and simple to understand, but hard to master, right?
Yeah. That, and like even other games like I personally did not grow up on video games, but I see people bring up like Legend of Zelda has been one of the like popular media things that people have played when they were children and then now are playing as adults, and it's still kind of that same, it's still the same meat and bones of the story, but now you get to have these 2 different perspectives on it. And I think that like Succulent Sorcerers is just so underrated because it's one of those systems that I think can give you that perspective.
Heck yeah. Tony, you've been a player in like a pretty wide variety of systems on the channel. I think Monster of the Week was the more recent one, but you've also done My Boyfriend is a Cryptid,
Sexy Battle Wizards.
Sexy Battle Wizards. Oh my god,
Yes!
I have so many questions
Yeah.
about that one.
Oh, I love that one
please
so
share
much.
everything about what you want to share.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, what I was gonna say was before joining RD5, I actually didn't have a lot of experience outside of 5th edition D&D. You know, I was a DM for some like home games and stuff for D&D, and I really liked it. So I was like really intimidated when it came to even doing like the 2-pagers because but like being that my background is mostly just kind of improv and doing comedy, it really works like with all these. In fact, it works more. It's a lot easier to just like play with 2-pagers. And I gotta say, like, I'm just being exposed to so many different systems. It's super cool. But yeah, Sexy Battle Wizards. um I think it was my first stream with RD5. And Andrew, shout out to Andrew, wonderful member of RD5, was my GM for that game, and I got to flirt with him for like 2 hours, and it
Ooh,
was
that's steamy.
fucking, it was the best. And I got to play my favorite archetype, which was bisexual old man wizard. Which was a lot of fun. And but yeah, what I found was that like there are little things like with the systems that might trip you up, but like mostly 2-pagers in general. But Sexy Battle Wizards was like super easy and then super fun, and that's what I love. Recently, I took a trip with my friends to North Carolina, and like games like Sexy Battle Wizards, Gubat, not Gu, sorry. This is the
Hold it
only
in.
thing. This is the only thing that I'll say Gubat Banwa doesn't do, because it's a tactical RPG. It's not simple, but it's not trying to be simple. I'm trying to think. Sexy Battle Wizards, Monster of the Week. I'm trying to think of it. My Boyfriend is a Cryptid.
Have you done
Shout
Honey
out to
Heist
the guy.
yet, Tony?
Not yet,
We
but
got a Honey
I was
Heist with
thinking
you.
about it. Yeah, I
I,
would
I
love
have
the
not
honey.
done Honey Heist either.
I don't think I've
I've
Oh,
been
we got a honey
I've
heist.
seen-
You rat bastards! I need to run Honey Heist for all of you. I've literally run it for this channel.
I've never been called a rat bastard so endearingly.
I'll do it one more time before the end of the stream. Don't worry.
Oh, I'll hold you.
Julie's
fucking
from
to
New
that.
York. Rat bastards are all that you
Is
I
it-
love it. That was definitely like in the life. I'm used to being called a rat bastard and it being a very like terse.
See, actually, New York doesn't have a lot of rat bastards because rats made for life. We have a lot of bastard rats.
Yeah,
Important
yeah.
difference.
Whoa,
a
yes,
lot, a lot of rats with no fathers in New York. As far as I remind,
They have fathers, they just don't know who they are.
Oh,
yeah, they're
gosh.
fucking bastards. I know what I said. Sorry.
All right, so new TTRPG system, rat bastards.
Matt,
Yeah,
guys,
I will be GMing that one. Rat bastards. Get the fuck out of here. What are you doing? Get your coffees together.
Oh no.
Sorry.
Oh,
what was
my
that?
god! Wait, it has to be said in New York, very specifically. You have
has
to
to-
try an accent.
The only rules for rat bastards is that your setting needs to be New York. All right. Bastard needs to be said at least 4 times a session. All right. You have to have a bagel. And not any of those fucking Chicago slices. If I see any of you eating a Chicago slice at my fucking game, guess what? You're fucking out of there. Fucking out of there. Sorry. I haven't done my New York accent in so long.
And you'll have the opportunity when we create rat
Will we
bastards.
play?
Rat
Will we
Bastards.
create and play Rat Bastards?
Yes. Roll D5 published Rat
I
Bastards.
I was remembering the other day when I used to live in New York, there was this massive dumpster close to the Williamsburg Bridge where rats would have like their feast every
Mhm.
night. And as you were coming, as I was going like back home every night because my best friend's house was on the way from that restaurant. It was just a rat restaurant. You would have to like stand and let rats pass from one side to the other until like they would like stop crossing. Like they're just crossing from the dumpster to the
it's a
park.
rat. They're New Yorkers
Yeah,
too.
yeah. I think I accidentally kicked one once
Oh,
walking
yeah.
that same route.
I'm
And-
surprised you're alive.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm
You didn't
surprised
get
I'm alive,
gangrene
too.
from the leg up.
What part of New York do you live in, if you don't mind me asking?
I
We're
used
gonna
to
get
live-
back
I
on
used to
topic
live
right away.
by the Williamsburg Bridge before the application of it.
What? I think we actually used to live not because I'm from Brooklyn.
Oh.
I used to live on the south side, not right by the Williamsburg Bridge, but pretty close by there.
Yeah,
Kinda-
I was
kinda
like
by
I
the
was a block
beginning.
away from the Williamsburg Bridge on the Williamsburg side.
That's wild. Okay, so yeah, you're in William. That's what's up, man. That's what's
Oh
up.
my God,
That's
Shadow, have you
awesome.
lived in New York too?
No.
Leave!
Not the city.
Ouch!
Not the city.
Not
I
the
lived-
city.
I lived upstate.
Okay, we're in upstate. We'll count that.
I was up in like the Ithaca region.
Leave! I'm kidding, I think it's fine.
Get out! I'm fine. I'll take my
Listen.
wine and apples and go.
And
The apple
My
pick, the
beautiful
apple picking,
outdoors.
the apple picking in Ithaca is legit. I will say that. That is a
I
lot
never
of
did
fun.
it. I never did the apple picking. I never did the pumpkin things.
Oh my god!
Uh,
Fuck pumpkins, but get apple cider donuts if you live in New York.
Yes.
Fuck pumpkins.
speaking of
Also apple
pumpkins, which
Are you
is
trying to
connected to
say?
Halloween, which is connected to scary things, Monster of the Week is a system that at least two of us have played on the
Right.
channel.
Wait,
Thank
I'm
you.
sorry. Okay, I do remember what I was trying to say. What I was trying to say was, this is why I have my own podcast, and they don't just let me talk. They have me do things because I'm unfocused.
They have you do
Can you tell I have
tasks.
ADHD? Yeah, they have me do tasks. All these 2 pages inspired me to run my own interpretation of Kids on Bikes, or Kids on Brooms, which is kind of like another, not a 2-pager, but like a more simple TTRPG system where everybody has a dice, and I called it Cruise on Cruise because it was pirate theme. And I would love to get like an unofficial 2-page written up for that. But yeah, I love RD5 for introducing me to all this new TTRPG stuff. It's way less intimidating. But yes, Monster of the Week. I'll stop distracting. I'm gonna mute myself so I can
No,
pace and control myself.
you don't have to mute yourself. You are one of the people on the channel who's played Monster of the Week.
that's
Wait,
factual.
hold on. Sorry, he's doing a bit. No, let's give him time.
Oh, okay. All right. So...
Don't do that to me. Don't do that. That's not okay.
You wanted the attention. You'll get it. Timmy. Hello, Timmy, in the chat. Our dear Timmy Slimmy, another Gubat Banwa player.
Another Gubat
I'm just
Banwa.
indoctrinating everyone I know.
I don't know how
into
many
the
times
cult.
I've heard Juli say Gubat Banwa in the last few weeks, but I could live for you saying Gubat Banwa
Gubat Banwa.
100 million times because it adds to that cuteness stat that Tino was talking about.
Yeah,
Every time
that
you say
cute status.
Gubat Banwa,
Wait, it adds to the cuteness stat?
Yeah.
Gubat Banwa in the Sword
Did you see-
Isles, violence is the only way to settle conflict.
That's it. That's the stream.
Wow.
We did
Thanks
it.
everybody for coming by. We did it.
Whoa,
a
yo,
video-
cool
a
of
video 2
D10s.
hours of Juli
We-
saying Gubat Banwa.
We got Julie to do whatever the fuck that was. Stream's over.
You know what else are cute? Animon is a system inspired by Digimon that I have played with Jess the Human, Robin Redunculus, and our dear sweet lemon boy Mika. It's a really cool system. There's like evolution in it. You play as like a child and you control an Animon too. That's another cool system. Totally flawless segue because I can tell that everybody's
yeah.
not distracted at all.
Yeah, what's your Julie, what's your favorite game? Because now you've been with RD5 for how long now? Probably the longest out of everyone here. So out of all the systems that you've experienced, what's your favorite?
The tables have turned on me.
Yeah,
Um, so it would be easy to say Gubat Banwa, because I did run
you
it for
son of a
AAPI
bitch.
Charity Month.
You son
Um,
of a bitch.
very hard game to run Theater of the Mind, but definitely doable. I think I do want to give a shout out to a lot of the fun rules light systems. Like Tony, you were mentioning how fun and easy they are to pick up a lot of the time. There was a really interesting one I played on the channel with Mika, Zoe, and Sam Comerford called Thursday, which is based around like the Russian doll meme where Natasha Leon is like, Thursday, what a concept.
Oh
Where
yeah.
you're stuck in a time loop, and the way it works is you are in like an archetype. You're like the misanthrope, the artist, etc. And there's no dice in it. Uh, Rather, you take dramatic roleplay actions, and when you do, you get tokens which you can use to like do moves to like try and discover that you're in a time loop and then break the time loop.
Damn,
It's
that's
so
kind of
cool.
rad.
You like
Yeah.
go
What's the
into
name
it.
of the game?
It's just called Thursday. Um,
Whoa.
yeah, we can we're all Roll D5 people. We can send you the doc. But it's a really cool system where like you're encouraged to go in like as shitty people. We did it like in a high school reunion type setting, and yeah, like Mika's saying in the chat, it's kind of like a writer's room type game. Like you'll suggest like I don't know, like can Sam's character kiss Mika's character in like a sudden display of passion and revealing his
Right.
closeted sexuality, which is something that happened in the game. You know, things like that. And because it was a time loop too, we also just kept proposing horrible ways for our characters to die before the time loop
Before
crashed.
it like reset. Oh my god, that's great.
So like we were at like an Under the Sea themed high school reunion, and like in one of the time loops there was like a giant like shark on the ceiling, and the giant shark was the most consistent thing that would kill us. Like when we kind of didn't know how we die. The shark falls on us again. Time loop resets.
Oh my
It
gosh.
was very
Those
chaotic.
people are bad at time loops. If the same thing's getting you killed, you're bad at a time loop. I'm
That
sorry.
would be
Exactly.
me. That would be me if I
You-
ever, if I
you-
would suck at a time loop. I would be the worst time looper in the world. It's just-
Why do you think that, Danielle? Why?
Yeah,
because I would
please
just, like, step on
explain.
the same. I would step on the same problem every day. I'm too lazy to fix things. I would be like, okay, I'm comfortable with this. I would either be comfortable with the day, like I'm completely comfortable with this, and just like live throughout the day, every day, or I would just die the same way every day because I'm stupid and I break easy.
You break
It's-
easy?
I break easy. If you ever let me show you, this arm is really crooked. It doesn't look well in camera. Like it doesn't show. You need to see them together.
Oh
But
my
this arm is
God.
crooked. I have a metal bar here, a metal piece. I have scar.
Whoa.
Is that should I?
Whoa.
If anybody that doesn't like scars,
I don't know, up to you, dude.
Trigger warning. Trigger warning. Let
Oh,
me
that's a
see
pretty
it.
normal scar.
yeah, it's a pretty normal.
That's
scar.
Damn.
That's
but it's big because
crazy.
I have a metal plate inside.
Shoot. Danielle, first
I
of
have a
all,
met.
I'm glad you're okay.
Yes.
Second of all, it's
And-
so cool to meet someone who has attained Gubat Banwa wounds in real
Yes.
life.
You do not want to know how I got that, how I broke my elbow here. It's the most stupid story that you can think of. I stepped on a stool and fell. That's the story.
I bet it happened really
story.
quickly too. Danielle just
Oh.
like making eggs in the morning.
Yeah, we were at school. We were at grad school, and there was this like kind of table, kind of stool that had a smaller base than it had a top, and there were so many people working on the classroom. So I stepped on that thing to call out a friend, and when I tried to step down, the thing flipped on me, and I just fell in front of like 150 people. Fell on my elbow on the wooden floor of school,
Ooh.
and because I didn't want to like feel the shame, I just stood up like normally, and I just said, "No, I'm fine, guys." The friend
No.
goes like, "No, you're not. No, you're not. Your arm is wrong." I'm like, what? And then I
Your arm
turned.
is wrong is a terrifying sentence to hear.
I turned and my arm was wrong. It was broken. Like my entire. Yeah, it was horrible. It was horrible.
Not your arm is wrong.
Oh
I was
gosh.
like, it's fine. I'm fine.
God.
And I was like, nope.
That's
it's
like
not.
a Reddit 4-sentence horror story right there.
Yeah, your arm is wrong.
I break easily. My ankles suck. My knees my knees pop like if I'm 60. Yeah.
Oh man.
I was born with bad cartilage genetics, I think, or
Glass
something.
bones and
Or
paper skin. Yeah, for
yes.
sure.
But you're still alive, my friend, which is
Yes.
why I personally think that experience would carry you through a time. Also, can I just say, Julian said you have Gubat Banwa wounds in real life. Juli, do you not know that wounds are just like a thing, like that you can have in like actual life without like outside of Gubat Banwa?
Tone, I can't believe we're referencing Gubat Banwa and having a conflict between characters right now. That's one of my favorite gags, is to like pretend something was invented by something really recent. Like,
Right.
just walk into a jazz bar in New York and be like, "Jazz, a Persona 5 reference."
I can't believe there's a Persona 5 reference in this club.
Oh no.
And then they'll all say, you'll show them a song and you're like, that's clearly funk. That's not jazz at all. I have a jazz drummer friend and he gets pissed off whenever I say that.
Really?
Yeah, he's like, that's not jazz. And I'm like, for
jazz.
sure.
Not jazz.
Listen, people who really enjoy music and there are like 6 variations on every genre, I respect it. I can't wrap my head around it. Do I know the difference between like the 6 different, God, I'm sure there's like probably a dozen different types of like sludge metal even. I respect the people who know the difference.
Sludge metal, grunge metal, trash metal, thrash metal, crash metal, hash metal, slash metal.
Good job.
Oh.
So what I really like about Gubat Banwa is that it's a Southeast Asian produced TTRPG. We played it on Twitch with the creator of it.
Oh, we're gonna get in trouble.
You should do a drinking game. Every time Julie says Gubat Banwa, you need to get a shot.
Oh my god, yeah.
It's really cool if you have a hankering for combat focused TTRPG that isn't 5e. I fell in love with it when I opened the rulebook and saw a guy riding a crocodile, and I was like, oh my god, this is not something that's possible in 5e. Which genuine thoughts right here. I started my TTRPG journey as a 5e player. My dear friend Addie invited me onto a podcast, and my first ever character was a tiefling cleric. And because I'm such a 5e build nerd, like being pals with Tulok, a fan of Tulok even before, who Tulok the Barbarian, who does like D&D character builds like across genres. I was kind of like, oh, like 5e like pretty much has everything covered, but like experiencing systems like Gubat Banwa has really made me understand, just because you can do everything in 5e, and like it can be really fun to reflavor 5e and make it like a modern day game, a like sci-fi game like they have on Dimension 20. Sometimes it's cool to see what these TTRPGs specifically designed for that setting are. Like, yeah, you could homebrew a crocodile rider in D&D 5e for sure. You could do like a find steed something. But to just have a class designed around like my giant crocodile lures you in and then bites you if you leave adjacency, and then I pull you back in with my harpoon is just sick as hell. So that's my
One of the things we were discussing this morning is that one of the things that really got me excited about this system is the fact that the character archetypes are so easy to understand. So they sound complicated. Again, a guy riding a crocodile. If you wanted to do that in another game, you'd be like, oh, that's gonna be 100 dice with 100 moves with 100. Your character has 3 moves. when you start, and you get to use those moves. But because they're so flavorful, and all of the moves, all of the descriptions seem useful for different situations, and they're all fun. So any single time you want to do something, you're like, I'm gonna behead something and
Yeah.
explode and move a mountain, and after I move the mountain, I'm going to bring down the power of the gods with fire. And that's level 1. Legend 0, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
That's Legend 0. Like, you just your first turn in combat, you're like bringing down a mountain, and that really makes you feel not only powerful, but it makes you feel like part of a world that has different rules.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
It's so interesting. Like I one of the most common complaints I hear about 5e is that martial classes, what they do is they run up and they hit. And you know, I like running up and hitting because I'm a Fire Emblem player, and that game is all.
because you live in New York.
I live in New York.
Because you live in the
Because I live in New York. I select Iron Sword and I critical hit. There's strategy even to run up and attack, but then you open Gubat Banwa and that Crocodile Rider class we mentioned. It's like your basic attacks are harpoon and pull one, pull somebody with you, and then you're just kind of like, wait. This is a game that's completely designed around the fact that even your basic attacks do completely different things. One of Shadow's
Shadow's character,
Yeah.
I couldn't. Nothing that my character could do could compare with what her character could do. They're just like completely different things. It seemed like we were playing different games, and that's
Mhm.
awesome because they just intertwine.
Yeah.
Well, your character too, Julie. Like, it was just mostly strategic, positional. You were doing other stuff, like but we were part of the same combat. It's just there's something really magical how these systems just like coincide.
Yeah, it wasn't just like move attack. It was like Shadow was taking entire turns to be like, I drop a field that reduces enemies' defenses. I fling them into this other enemy, which blows open their defenses, which allows me to attack consecutively and inflict the bleed status, and just off of your basic attacks. And it really makes me want to try systems uh, like Lancer and all of these other very combat centric TTRPGs because there's just a whole world of them that can feel kind of intimidating. When I first opened Gubat Banwa for the charity stream, I was kind of like, oh my god, how am I going to learn this system in a week? And obviously I was shaky with it, but I'm glad that I tried. It's very easy for I don't know about everybody else in the space, but I feel like a lot of people like pick one or two like of their, and this is going to be like my combat TTRPG, and then everything else is going to be the rules like games you do one for like one-offs and charity streams and anything like that. So because of that, it feels like it can be a hurdle to like get out there and learn Lancer, learn Gubat Banwa after you've already sunk so much time into 5e Pathfinder, etc.
Yeah.
But I think it's important to do so because it's really changed the way I think about these games.
Yeah, I think for me, one thing that kind of spans across like all TTRPGs is they struggle to feel balanced when it comes to combat. And personally, myself as a player, I tend to not fully enjoy the games that are combat heavy, like 5e is. Because you can't really role play. Like, you know, games that are combat heavy because it's so hard to make everything feel balanced where everybody's turn doesn't take 20 to 30 minutes to figure out and or just get through, and where you can actually have a cohesiveness within your party instead of somebody casting silence and now all of a sudden all other magic casters can't do anything unless they move out of the 120-foot sphere that is silence, you know, like that. Like, yeah, you could bounce off of that. Like a good role player could role play off of that, right? But that's not accessible to everybody. Like that's not a gameplay for everybody's experience, everybody's TTRPG experience. And I think Gubat Banwa, I've only played, 3 sessions of it, but so far it seems to be one of the most balanced systems out there. Like everyone has mentioned, like everyone had their part, but no one felt overshadowed. No one no one did something that now hindered somebody else's next move, and
Mm.
And there's
then
encouragement. There's
yeah,
the Thunderbolt system
Yes.
Yeah.
makes it so there. So what you're saying, I'm 100% with what you're saying. And I played 5e for a long time and was my only game. But the fact that once combat started, the story came to a halt, almost came to a halt. Like even when I saw 5e streams, I would skip some of the some of the
Yeah.
battles just because I know it's gonna be the battle, right? But here, the fact that the Umalagat,
Yeah. Umalaga.
which is the Umalagat, which is the equivalent of a game master, the fact that every single time you say something stupid or something beautiful or something poetic or something that's conflicted with your own passions of character, they reward you with this infinite amount of thunderbolts, which are mechanically very useful. So it's all the time the game is pushing you to be, again, silly,
Yeah.
stupid, dramatic, making you part of the story and making the story part of the battle and making the battle part of the story.
And like sure, like things like D&D 5e have inspiration baked in, but that's just like, oh, you have like advantage on your chance to succeed at something. But thunderbolts are like, Wax designed it so that it's like you can change the weather on the battlefield. You can give yourself a whole other turn if you've like accumulated enough of them. And that was really one of those moments where I felt like my brain like expanded, because like I still like 5e. I still play 5e. I'm literally a professional GM for 5e, but it made me realize that there are aspects of TTRPG gameplay that I didn't even know I needed. Like that this, like you were saying, that the story moves along with the combat. That nobody really has time where they're stuck making death saving throws. Um, and like not getting to take actions, because you're still fighting down to the last breath, because Wax is somebody who has played a lot of D&D and he knows what he doesn't like about it, and he's just like, oh, I'm designing this game from scratch. I can fix that. It's mind blowing, truly.
Yeah,
Heck,
it's very clever. And there's a big confusion whenever you see big systems and big games with big books. It usually gives you this idea of that a game a game with more complicated stuff happening in it.
hmm,
Um, it's a better game, but in a way, for a player who's never played this game before, it's such an easy game to play. It's easy because you have to remember your three attacks, and you have to remember the things you can do in battle, which are like five. But the Thunderbolts give you all of those. Instead of customization, you have options, and that kind of opens up a world in which you have more limited things to select from, but all of them feel like part of the story, and
they're
that's good.
impactful too. It's not
Yeah,
just run up and attack. It's I attack and then I slide you 2 squares. I attack and then my gun starts to glow with energy and I might explode if I do it again.
yeah, and I think I mean moving away from combat just for a moment,
Mm,
like so like I brought up like we talked about Succulent Sorcerers a little bit ago, but for me, it's the fact that like the table is included in telling this story together. You are encouraged to insert things into the scene. You're encouraged to describe things into the scene. You're encouraged to help be part of world creation, everything like that. And again, I feel like the TTRPGs to me that I enjoy playing the most have aspects of that. And Gubat, Banwa has like a whole separate section that is totally separate from whatever you can do in combat, and
you
it's
could play
just
only that.
focused on RP. Yeah, and you as a player don't feel powerless to help create the world, which I feel like so many TTRPG players feel so limited in expanding the world, even though they're part of telling the story too. They leave it up to the GM to to start, you know, creating and making and moving forward the plot. But in systems like Gubat Banwa, you as the player can take that initiative and run with it and be rewarded with thunderbolts or other things that happen in game. You can all of a sudden be like, that man was my cousin and you just killed them. Like, like you could just like go in and go ham in that sense. So I think having like emphasis that carry over to the RP, like the RP section, just as much as combat, I think is a really great thing about some of these systems that aren't, 5e or Pathfinder.
I
Very
think there's
mechanically interesting.
another thing in Gubat Banwa that really I love it, and it kind of connected the role playing to the combat too, which is the debt system. That or Wax said that there's like a lot of emphasis on debt in Gubat Banwa, and I remember the last combat that we had, Juli, on your stream. Instead of killing one of the enemies, I was like, I'm gonna spare your life, but now you're indebted to me. And like, not only was it kind of this moment, it also progressed the story, because it's like, oh well, now we have a way to learn about our surroundings. It's like, oh, we need a boat. It's like, okay, you and your companion are going to help us do that now. And we had this new, like, I don't know, it very much felt like and this was also because Juli is an amazing Umala god and also an amazing GM, but like it was a very easy way for me as a player to whether it's through combat or RP, start, like you were saying, Shadow, start like taking control of the story and contributing in a significant way, not in the in the typical like, I have a dad and he makes me sad. Hope we don't meet him.
I will be glad if we
if we don't meet the dad. What's also cool about
that,
that,
you can be like, that's my dad, and then it's your dad.
That's a very great point you brought up, Tony. Also, because that is a great example of roleplay being gamified in a really interesting way. Like coming from 5e, and when I see people complain about 5e's roleplay being like too simple, I'm kind of like, oh, what do you mean? Like, all you really need is to like roll a d20 and like see what happens based on how much you succeed. Like, that does a lot. But then like just that honor and debt system you talked about, you as a player have this dude following you around because you spared his life and he's grateful to you, and anytime you want, you can cash in on that debt and be like, hey, you owe me, go infiltrate that base for me.
Right.
And if he says no, then he loses honor, which is like devastating in the Sword Isle. So like you kind of just have this whole other resource pool that you can use for roleplay and story decisions. It really is just mind-blowing seeing all those ways for roleplay to be expanded like that.
Yeah, and it's one of those things that you just don't like I said earlier in the stream, coming from D&D 5e, it's one of the things that you just like don't think about. If you don't interact with a lot of other TTRPGs, you don't
or
think,
from
like,
Western RPGs. Like there's
exactly.
There's concepts that are not usually brought on this stuff.
Right.
Like, again, this debt system it's a completely different social structure than what a Western TTRPG would use, right? And it has its historical relevance, and it has its cultural relevance, and it's part of what makes this game unique, right? It's like, you're not. One of the things that I really liked about the rulebook is that we're there. I will be paraphrasing and terribly paraphrasing, but there's a couple of pages in which the game explains, in this game you will find concepts that you're going to be foreign with. But it's because this game was made by us, for us, and we're sharing it with the world. And by sharing it with the world, now this is out there, so you should enjoy it. But at the same time, if you feel foreign, or if you feel like removed from some of these concepts, think about why you feel removed from those concepts. Right? Check your own bias.
Yeah, it shouldn't necessarily, the reason we're more comfortable like opening Lord of the Rings and pronouncing like Thranduil versus like opening Gubat Banwa and pronouncing Akasha is just because like that's what the world surrounds us with, not because it's intrinsically easier or harder to pronounce,
Yeah.
Look at your fucking Eurocentric surroundings, people. We live in a society, all right? You think what? You think that you just know how to pronounce Yiddish and Welsh names? What? Off a fucking lark? You don't even know where that is on a map. Think about it, dog. Why do we call the Middle East when it's more west to us in this country? Why? Think about that. Japan isn't east of us, stupid. It's west.
It's West.
Think, dog. Think,
Damn.
Mark. Think.
That was a real rat bastard thing of you to say, Tony.
Very rat bastard.
That was extremely rat bastard of me
And
to say.
speaking of funny words, if you want funny words on your shirt, you can check out today's sponsor, Gemmed Firefly, which is a really cool shirt company run by our friend of the channel, Dungeon Glitch, who will be on the channel on Wednesday, playing some really fun games, and the proceeds for these shirts go to charities, which is super cool. We also recently got a sponsorship from Greenleaf Geek, which does amazing dice. I will put those plugins in the chat momentarily, but in the meantime, I would love to ask all of you, before we get going, a question that I often ask myself, which is like, what TTRPG would I like to play tomorrow? Whether it's like a new one or one that I'm just like itching to play again. Like I, at this point now, trying to get into Gundam Witch from Mercury, and getting back into strategic combat, I'm like, I want to try Lancer. It's a giant robot combat system. It did partially inspire Gubat Banwa, so it's not one we played on the channel yet, and I'm hoping that one day we'll make that happen. Is anyone else like itching to try or retry other systems right now?
Ooh, that's a good one. Well, okay, first I want to put a small disclaimer that I totally thought that you were asking us what game did we think that you specifically
Oh?
and not
Like
you-
this is
what
the
you
game
want to
show
play.
now.
I'm not
Guess
gonna
what
lie.
Julie wants to play tomorrow.
Yeah,
That's the game. The
Yeah,
game is called
that's it.
Guess What Julie Wants
Guess
to
what
Play.
Julie wants to
Yeah.
play tomorrow.
Or
it's
like
a
we-
reality
It's
show.
Gubat Banwa, fuckers!
The same answer every time.
oh my gosh. Yeah, that or this is when we were supposed to just start recommending TTRPGs to you. Timmy's right. Everyone take a shot.
Everyone take a shot. I love you, Timmy.
I would say answering the question for myself this time. One system that I'm itching. I'm gonna say a system that I don't always play because obviously it's gonna anyway. Crash Pandas.
Mm.
Oh,
Crash Pandas, I think is I would like another stab at the Crash Pandas. Like talk about some chaos. You are a raccoon of your choosing. You could be 3 raccoons in a trench coat. That can
What?
happen. And then part of the system is being in a race car. And like literally at some point you get in a car and you're either actual racers or like you're in like a high speed chase with the police. It's up to you. Or the person running it. But yeah, Crash Pandas, check it out for Raccoon Pandemonium.
Oh my god, that
That's
sounds
amazing.
so fun. Have
That
we
sounds
played
like
that on the
hella
channel? I've
fun.
heard of that system before.
Have we played it?
I'm not sure. But
So
either
we
way,
learn
I
it.
want to now.
You can check the drive.
I want to. Yeah, do you...
I'm gonna let. I want to go last, so I'm gonna let Danielle.
Oh
go.
no.
Well, I think that one of the games that brought me back to TTRPGs about 15 years ago was Fiasco, which Fiasco is basically the game I didn't know I needed the time it came into my life, because uh for the longest time I basically just RP'd on forums when I was way younger. That's where I learned English, actually, RPing in forums.
Mm.
And then we tried to play D&D many times, but you would either find copies of the game with like bootleg photocopies in like pseudo Spanish. So it was really hard to find good rules for good games. So for me, TTRPGs had always been like something that was so foreign and so removed, right? It was just such a hassle. And when Fiasco came into my life, I was just like, okay, this is a 15-page book that I can just go through and play. And I played it. I played Fiasco like at least 15 times. Every single time, it's been a completely different story. Every single time, it's been completely ridiculous and memorable. Um, and the thing is that this system is just it's just made for disaster. It's just designed for it's one of those systems that is designed to fail, and that makes it so fun and so stupid and so
Ooh.
it makes it a very fun game to like a casual TTRPG. And I definitely that's one of the games I would like to play soon. And it's a GM-less game, which makes it really fun. And you know what reminded me about Gubat Banwa about Fiasco was the complication system, because for Fiasco to work, you start the game by assigning a relationship between the characters. You cannot start the game if you don't have that complication system in it. So you need to start the game like I am the sister that stole money from you. You are his husband, and you are a police officer that arrested me. And that triangle is what creates the story of Fiasco. Such a fun game. I would
It's like
totally recommend it.
sounds like
Mm.
setting up like a almost like a game of Clue or something, or like a
It's
murder mystery.
it's like if you're playing a movie like Fargo
Yeah,
or
yeah.
like a Coen Brothers movie. That's what the entire feel for the game is. And when I played it back in the day, when I played it back in the day, uh, when I played it back in the day, there was like a Western setting, a suburban setting, an ice town setting, and a scientific experiment setting. And since then, people have like massified it, and there's like probably 1,000 settings that people have put out, and the game encourages people to do their own settings. Really, really, really fun.
My God, that's so sick.
Hell yeah. Yeah, I dig it. I dig it.
I was also a roleplay forums kid, so I appreciate that. And I remember the first time I was mostly on Fire Emblem forums back in the day, and we were just kind of like taking turns typing paragraphs of what our characters did, and then when somebody tried introducing a TTRPG element to it, started introducing like, oh, here's a site where you used to roll dice, this is how you hit. It just completely like my eyes like glazed over because it was like a forum, you know? It didn't have that
Yeah,
human to human connection.
it
And
could take
then
a day to get a post in.
yeah,
2 days to see what happened in your own story. Could take it to like I remember
because
playing
people
some
have work.
yeah, I remember playing some forum games for like 6 months, right? Just like post by post every day with 3 or 4 more people, just creating a
That's
story together. It was for me it was game facts. So this was
oh my God, me
19,
too.
1990, 1996, 1997,
Mm.
probably back in the
I
day.
I didn't know people did that.
We're
That's
alive
crazy.
back in 1997.
No, I shut up.
Oh no.
I say as if
I
I'm
didn't
not
know. I
like
didn't.
we're basically the
Yeah,
same age.
yeah. We're like basically. Shut up.
I
um,
also did not know people did that.
I didn't. Thank you, Shadow. I appreciate.
I
the
knew people
backup.
like RP'd in Neopets, but like that was the extent of what
Oh
I
Yeah,
yeah,
I
knew.
played.
Neopets.
I played Gaia online and was trying to get a virtual girlfriend when I was like a kid. I don't know what you guys are doing.
I love this.
She Gaia on my online. Tony, what what were you gonna say?
right, right.
I've been
right,
waiting.
Right,
I've been waiting.
Oh,
No,
just
I think
Oh,
it's
oh,
gonna
wait.
be
that.
less chaotic than you think it is. Dania, what did
No,
what did you
before
want
that,
to say?
I think I just remember the weirdest RP, the weirdest RP experience that I had on the internet. There was this thing that I think it still kind of exists that was called Habbo Hotel.
Yeah,
Uh,
What?
remember Habbo
it
Hotel?
was okay. This was crazy. This was Second Life 10 years before Second Life. You would like make a little avatar of yourself and like visit this hotel, right?
Yeah,
But you could type and you could just type up to like 10 words. Um, but people who had money could like buy rooms and put furniture in the rooms. So the thing is that there were like public spaces in the hotel, but they were physical spaces. So you could go to the bar and just sit on the bar with your character and just talk,
Yeah.
which is something that is completely normal today. But at the time, I was like, no, I've never seen anything like this. So RP was just like two characters standing one in front of another. Now I am touching your cheek. Now I am saying,
Yeah.
Steamy.
People would cyber on Habbo Hotel. You never seen Habbo? You know Guilty Gear, right, Julie?
What does that have to do with anything?
Because the Guilty Gear Strive lobbies look almost exactly like Habbo Hotel.
I know exactly what you're talking
You know
about.
exactly what I'm talking about now, right?
Oh my god.
It's so
they don't
funny.
call
They
him
look-
Batman for nothing.
That was what a niche joke. What a deep cut. No one's gonna get that.
You got it. That's what's important.
Thank you. I love you so much. I can kiss you on your stupid little face right now.
Oh my god, I'm so flattered.
Say it. Say the word.
Gubat
Say the
Banwa.
GB word. Yeah, there it is.
say it.
Take a shot.
We know you want to say it.
God, off the rails already. I have so many answers to your question, Julie.
Mm.
I know it's kind of okay. So let me start out. I know it's like old hat. It's super not what we do on RD5. I do want to play D&D 5e again. It's been a very long time for me, and it's like a nostalgic thing for me by now. Like I haven't DM'd anything in it must be like a couple of years or something like that. So I do kind of miss that. I really want to play Sexy Battle Wizards again. That was just so much fun, and I wouldn't call myself like a flirty person, you know,
Wouldn't?
like in normal life. No,
Oh, okay.
I do bits and jokes, but like yeah, like online, you know, I get a little crazy. But like Sexy Battle Wizards, it was really cool because even though I was playing with Zoe and Andrew and I think Erica at the time,
What a great crew.
and I felt very like, you know, obviously there was like a level of respect between us, but like it was my first game with RD5, first time meeting my fellow players, and like I felt so comfortable and safe to be that like very flirtatious, you know, kind of sexual character that I made, you know what I mean? And it's and I don't know, just somewhere where I could be playful like that and not feel weird for making dick jokes. It's great. And so I really want to play Sexy Battle Wizards again. And this is a call out. This is a call to action for someone to make a One Piece fucking TTRPG, for the love of God. I know that there are like reskins of D&D 5e. That's not what I'm asking for. Please, someone make a One Piece TTRPG so I could play it. I will DM. I will DM if we get a TTRPG for like a One Piece setting. Like that would, oh my god, I'd be ecstatic. But anyway, there you go.
You gotta make your own crew. You gotta have like devil fruit mechanics. It's all gotta be there.
Oh, it's gonna be great. You could be a Marine. We have Marines up in there too. It's great.
Absolutely. And yeah, listen, I sometimes 5e does kind of feel like returning to like familiar ground for me. Like I run it professionally, and like I like slip into it so easily. What I really get excited for in regards to 5e is a lot of the like awesome homebrew content out there specifically. Like if someone invited me to a 5e campaign, I'd be like, sure. If our mutual friend Tulok the Barbarian invited me to his homebrew 5e setting, which is like a Mad Max wasteland where he designed like a new subclass for every class, trying to fill in the gaps that Wizards of the Coast left, including like tanky monks, Spider-Man artificers, etc. I'm like,
Dinosaurs.
yes, dinosaur druids.
Dinosaur druids.
Yeah. Like that gets me so hyped, just seeing the creativity that the TTRPG community can provide, even to existing and huge games.
Yeah.
So, Phil, if you're somehow watching this from your world travels, me and Tony will gladly play a game with you anytime.
Hey, Phil, we'll play a game with you. Please come back. Please come back with the milk you said you were gonna come back with, Phil. You said you were leaving for milk, you never came back.
All right, Tony's talking about milk, so I think it's about time we wrap the stream. So
It's a slippery slope from here.
I'd love to just first of all thank everybody stopping by the first episode of Roll Talks. We're going to be doing this once a month. Planned to be the first Friday of every month. Just talking about the TTRPGs we played recently and why we love them so much. I'd love to just go around and people can share what they're up to. And you know, you've spent this time getting to know a little bit too much about us and our humor. So please, if you enjoy it, Danielle, where can people find you and what are you up to?
Good. Well, I can usually be found on my socials by the username at DMTTA. I know it's kind of weird, DMTTA. And I'm usually I used to be a lot on Twitter, not anymore. Now I'm more of an Instagram person. And you can find me there if you want to see some of the TTRPG stuff I've done. You can go online. So you can go on YouTube to this channel called Ventideus, Ventideus with a VENTIDEUS. We streamed for 2 years. D&D, a highly complex campaign for 2 years. It was very, very fun. It's all in Spanish for people who know some Spanish. It's good practice. And that's me. And right now I'm up to like play with y'all and enjoy beautiful Portland, Oregon.
That's right. Visit Danielle in Portland. Don't.
Yes.
That's weird.
Visit me in Portland because I still have no friends here.
Oh.
I just arrived. I just arrived. I know nobody.
Just you and your tyrant.
I'm my tyrant.
That's his dog. Tino, who are you?
That's his birthday.
Oh, it's his birthday!
Whoa. Happy birthday!
He's
Happy
sleepy.
Birthday!
Wake up! Wake up! We're talking to
He
you.
was sleeping.
Oh, go back to sleep, pobrecito. Hi, I'm Tony or Tino Bambino. I am a player here on RD5. Obviously, you know that, and I also play on Juli's streams at JuliCL on Twitch. I am a host of the Everyday Nothing Special podcast, which you can find on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. We've been taking a hiatus because I've been doing family stuff for the last few months. I am all good, but thank you for the well wishes and stuff. I used to be, I'm still on Twitter at Sansademanza. I don't really use Twitter that much. I'm trying not to use social media that much. I'm mostly on Instagram. So you can find me at Sansademanza on Twitter, at Tino Bambino on Blue Sky, and at Sweet Tea on Instagram. I will put Sweet Tea.
Oh my god, you're worse than Shadow.
Chat. I know. I have like 3 different things, and I'm sorry I'm not consolidating these things more. And I'm sorry. And eventually I'm just gonna
say that Tino Bambino
live off
is
the
probably
land.
Tino Bambino is like top 5 usernames I've read in a long time. I love usernames that rhyme. I love usernames that rhyme and usernames that roll out your tongue.
Yeah, thank you so much. I don't know if I ever talked about the origins of my name, but Tino Bambino came from, I used to hate it. It was a nickname that my friends gave me in high school because I wouldn't shut the fuck up about Childish Gambino.
Oh,
I don't. Well, you can't see now, but so I have a picture of Childish Gambino. And now that's me. That's who I am.
Wait, hold on. So rather than calling you Tino Gambino, they call you Bambino, which is Babe Ruth's nickname.
Yeah. Well, but Bambino is beautiful boy in Italian.
Oh, okay, I see.
Tino, beautiful boy. I'm a beautiful little boy.
Gotcha.
But also, baby, what's up? What did I say?
To me, it was just in the middle of a string of words that were like at like 70% volume. You just dipped to 30% volume to say, "I'm a beautiful little boy," and then kept talking at the normal volume.
And then I was just waiting.
I didn't-
I was just waiting for Julie to be like, "You a beautiful boy."
You a beautiful boy.
Gubat Banwa.
A beautiful bambino.
I don't understand what you guys are talking. I think I was talking. I'm a beautiful little boy. I think I was pretty normal about everything I just said. Shadow, please.
Hey everybody, I'm Shadow. How's it going?
Hi, Shadow.
I'm here on Roll D5. I will actually this month I am playing at one of the games at the end of the month. But I'm also behind the screens doing a lot of tech over the next few months, so that's exciting. Hopefully I don't mess it up. Let me know. Otherwise, I do stream here on Twitch myself, Shadow Sylvia. I'm a daytime streamer. I try to stream as much as possible between Monday through Friday, and sometimes that's 2 days a week, and sometimes that's 4 days a week. I don't know. It's how it be. But I do things. I play games like Stardew Valley and build cozy things like Legos and other puzzles. And then sometimes I also play Assassin's Creed, and we get a little stabby, and it's a good time. So feel free to stop by and hang out. Yeah. I'm at Shadow Sylvia everywhere important, except for Twitter, where it's Shadow Book Cat. But I can't change my username anymore, so here we are.
Hey, don't blame us. Blame Elon Musk, right?
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Fuck that guy.
Why did that rhyme?
Cause
He's got that
Me.
Gambino in him.
Yeah,
Cause
Tino
me.
Gambino. Tino Bambino. Everything
Tino
needs to
Bambino.
rhyme.
Everything
another
needs to
RP there.
rhyme.
There's another RP there. I feel it.
When you
It's
play
coming.
Rat Bastards and you say a line, it needs to rhyme.
It needs to rhyme.
It's
It
part of the
needs to
game.
rhyme.
Don't be lame.
It's the
I
only-
welcome any guys or dames. Sorry, what was that? I was spitting fire.
It's the only TTRPG system written in iambic pentameter.
I would do that.
That sounds
I would
infuriating.
do that. I
That
wrote
sounds absolutely horrendous.
in the audio series I co-wrote. There's one character who, for the first 2 episodes that they're in, speaks entirely in iambic pentameter, and then we wrote like, we can drop this.
Yeah, we're like,
they-
can't do that anymore.
They do it to power up their magic because it helps them concentrate, and then they'll just slip into it sometimes. Done. Easy.
Perfect.
Hot like a parked car. All right, so thank you all so much
Not bonfire.
for tuning into this first episode of Roll Detox. We'll be back, planned to be the first Friday of every month, talking about all of the indie TTRPGs that we've tried on the channel. I have not been able to play on the channel very much, but I will be on Wednesday stream playing I Am Furious, which Shadow will be attacking. It's a really sick system. It's like you are a reincarnation of a goddess of vengeance, and it's kind of like Kids on Bikes / Brooms, where you assign a die to each of your stats, but every time you fail a roll, your like anger increases, and once it hits maximum, you become a like vengeance deity, and
Am I gonna split again?
Like Mob Psycho.
Yeah.
That sounds awesome.
you enter super
Yes.
mode. Yeah, no, it's sick. So you'll see that on Roll D5 on Wednesday. And until until then, I just keep checking out these lovely people. You'll see us all the time on Roll D5 because the way our streams work is it's these lovely people and then guests. So we'll have different folks coming into chat to play games, to share thoughts on their systems. And yeah, you can get to know us better in the Discord as well. Thank you so much for coming in, everybody. Have an incredible night, and we'll see you all next time on Woe D5.
Oh, whoa, D5.
Goodbye.
Goodbye.
Goodbye.